Coming up on tonight's show, AI is already changing the way our society works, but what lies ahead in 10, 20, 30 years? Is it really awesome? Like when you think you've eaten all the kettle corn, but then you find 5 pieces stuck in the couch cushions? Or is it bad? Like the way you feel about humanity after watching 7 seconds of the visual fecal matter Mr. Beast pumps out? Who better to ask about AI than the godfather of AI himself, Geoffrey Hinton? Plus, new testimony from IDF soldiers who say they were told to stand down and allow the October 7th attacks to happen. What in the actual all that and more coming up right now. Welcome to Unredacted Tonight. I'm the most censored comedian in America, Lee Camp. It's time to talk about AI. And I gotta warn you, this is not gonna be one of those sweet little puff pieces on NBC about how even grandmas are using AI now. I got a great recipe for banana bread right off the AI machine. No, this is about how AI is taking over, and it's not gonna stop. And even the guy who created it says there's a 1 in 5 chance we're all He's called the godfather of AI. Computer and cognitive scientist Geoffrey Hinton came up with the neural network insights that are now the basis for the big AI models. Now, in his later years, he spends his time going around talking about how awesome AI is.
My main mission now is to warn people how dangerous AI could be.
Or that.
Some of the risks are always very obvious, like people would use AI to make autonomous lethal weapons. That is, things that go around deciding by themselves who to kill. Other risks, like the idea that they would one day get smarter than us and maybe would become irrelevant, I was slow to recognize that.
Oh, okay, we'll just be irrelevant. That's not that bad, you know? J.D. Vance seems to be doing fine. Ellen DeGeneres still living in a mansion. Being irrelevant ain't so bad. Plus, let's be real, ChatGPT will never become smarter than us, okay? I mean, maybe smarter than the dummies out there, but not smarter than we smart people.
In terms of the amount of knowledge they have, something like GPT-4 knows thousands of times more than you do.
Thousands of times? Well, I've been working on my vocabulary, so, I mean, I have more verb acuity than I used to. Beat that, robots. Okay, maybe we will become irrelevant. A report from Goldman Sachs says artificial intelligence could replace the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs. It could replace a quarter of our work tasks in the US and Europe. Just 300 million jobs. Probably just the easy stuff, you know, like garbage man and plumbers, you know.
What would you be saying to people about their career prospects in a world of superintelligence? What should we be thinking about?
A good bet would be to be a plumber.
Shit. I suck at plumbering. This is just great. AI is going to run things and we'll be left to fix our toilets. I mean, I'm not saying don't fix your toilets. I'm just saying, I don't know if that should be your life's passion. So Mr. Godfather of AI is saying AI is not as good at physical manipulation as we are. Therefore, do things with your hands. I'm going to sell homemade macaroni necklaces on eBay. Computers can't beat me there. But what about, you know, standard intellectual labor? Copywriting, data entry, assistanting, summarizing, coming up with marketing plans, all that shit that people get paid to do, and then they grab the money and they fly off to an exotic country and drink a $22 Aperol Spritz. Can we still do that stuff?
For mundane intellectual labor, AI is just going to replace everybody.
Everybody? Okay, so there's that. So what remains?
So what remains?
Yeah, what remains?
Maybe for a while, some kinds of creativity. But the whole idea of superintelligence is nothing remains. These things will get to be better than us at everything.
Everything? What about, like, rude bumper stickers that say things like, tell your mom I said hi? You know, when you don't even know who's driving behind you. It could be like a quadriplegic 80-year-old nun, and you're like, tell your mom I said hi. Bet AI couldn't do that. Or what about creating things that might kill us all? And even while a lot of smart people are saying, this is a terrible idea, slow down, or we're screwed, we just continue right along the same path like idiots. Can AI do that? I think not. Oh, I know. At least AI will never be creative. So all the artists and musicians and poets and writers and comedians are safe. At least we have that.
People say these things will never be creative. They're going to be much more creative than us because they're going to see all sorts of analogies we never saw.
Come on. One time I compared putting up with 4 years of Trump to what it feels like to hold in a shit for a whole day. AI can do that. Unfortunately, the truth is maybe, if we're lucky, AI won't anytime soon be able to create humor columns exactly like mine or songs exactly like your favorite musician. But it will very soon be able to create things which are so close to that almost no one will be able to tell the difference. And even those who can, most won't care. So yes, it can be creative. But let's look on the bright side. I'm sure super intelligence won't be here for like 100, 200 years, right?
It's very hard to predict, but I think we might get it in like 20 years or even less.
But this could be kind of cool because it means all of humanity will be doing our bucket lists at the same time. That'll be so fun. You're going bungee jumping in Greece too? Awesome. So here is the actual possibly good news. Wage slavery was always a kind of awful, pathetic way to set up human society. Sure, some people do what they love, but most people are just trying to survive while the rich do whatever the they want. It's a pretty brutal existence model dreamed up by the rich and powerful. So we could come up with other ways to set up society that works great, even for those who don't have jobs. So maybe, just maybe, AI, if we deal with it properly, could create a great Solarpunk utopia. But there's some other problems too that you should probably know about.
There's risks that come from people misusing AI.
Yeah.
And that's most of the risks and all of the short-term risks. And then there's risks that come from AI getting super smart and deciding it doesn't need us.
I mean, I don't think we need about 80% of us either, honestly. Kidding. But no, seriously, we could get rid of like CEOs and meter maids, right? I mean, at least those two things. But seriously, AI getting so smart it decides it doesn't need us, is that a real risk?
I talk mainly about that second risk because lots of people say, is that a real risk? And yes, it is.
Okay, now you're just being rude.
We don't know how much of a risk it is. We've never been in that situation before. We've never had to deal with things smarter than us. If you want to know what life's like when you're not the apex intelligence, ask a chicken.
I've been saying we should treat chickens better for years, okay? We're gonna be right next to them in the cages soon, going, ain't this some shit? You guys were right, this sucks in here. We thought you were being melodramatic.
The thing about that existential threat is that we have no idea how to deal with it. We have no idea what it's going to look like. And anybody who tells you they know just what's going to happen and how to deal with it, they're talking nonsense. So we don't know how to estimate the probabilities it'll replace us.
I want to say a 1% chance that that'll happen, but judging by what a positive poly you've been, Geoffrey, I'm guessing it's higher than that.
I often say 10 to 20% chance they'll wipe us out, but that's just gut, based on the idea that we're still making them and we're pretty ingenious. And the hope is that if enough smart people do enough research with enough resources, we'll figure out a way to build them so they'll never want to harm us.
Oh, great. Only a 20% chance the thing we're building right now will kill us all. And we're relying on the smart people at the top of these companies to do the right thing and save us. I think we had the same thought about climate crisis. Yeah, the smart people will figure it out. They know what they're doing. They'll find the answer before it's too late. How's that going? Have they figured it out? Have they fixed it? So if AI is this dangerous, if it's like nuclear bombs in everybody's hands, why don't we stop it? Shut it down.
Also, we're not going to stop it because it's good for battle robots, and none of the countries that sell weapons are going to want to stop it.
Right. Of course. Too good for too many things. Yeah, I was having so much trouble pushing the button to bomb the wedding parties in Yemen, and my finger, this finger right here was getting so tired. It was getting arthritic, really, So, but now with AI, it does it for me, and this finger's feeling great. It's feeling like when it was 20 years old. Well, what about regulations? Can't we regulate AI enough that it won't be dangerous?
Like the European regulations, they have some regulations about AI, and it's good they have some regulations, but they're not designed to deal with most of the threats. And in particular, the European regulations have a clause in them that say none of these regulations apply to military uses of AI. So governments are willing to regulate companies and people, but they're not willing to regulate themselves.
Yes, let's make sure AI is safe for all humanity, except when the Pentagon wants to use it. Then it, swing for the fences. Those Pentagon fellas always do the right thing, don't they? Except when it has to do with foreigners, mistresses, children, and others. Ooh, do I hate another. So how exactly would we successfully regulate AI?
What we really need is a kind of world government that works, run by intelligent, thoughtful people.
Here's how smart our leaders are. Here's a clip of the Secretary of the Department of Education trying to talk about students using AI.
There is a school system that's going to start making sure that first graders or even pre-Ks have A1 teaching, every year starting, that far down in the grades. And that's a wonderful thing.
Either the Secretary of Education thinks that AI is A1 because she's literally never heard a single human soul talk about it, or she thinks American school children will be taught by a bottle of steak sauce. Which one is dumber? It's tough to know. But it's not breathtakingly dumb wrestling moguls like Linda McMahon running the AI companies. It's very smart people. So what about them?
We've got capitalism, which is done very nicely by us. It's produced lots of goods and services for us. But these big companies, they're legally required to try and maximize profits. And that's not what you want from the people developing this stuff.
Yeah, that's what we'll tell the aliens in the fossil record we leave for them to try to figure out what happened here. Well, the douchebags with all the power were legally obligated to maximize our death. I mean, there's no arguing with capitalism, right? You aliens know how that is, don't you? Okay, well, those are all the risks of AI. And now, okay. Oh, there's more. Oh. Yeah, there's more.
So I've distinguished these two kinds of risk. Yep. Let's talk about all the risks from bad human actors using AI. There's cyber attacks. Then the next thing is using AIs to create nasty viruses.
Okay.
And the problem with that is that just requires one crazy guy with a grudge, one guy who knows a little bit of molecular biology, knows a lot about AI, and just wants to destroy the world. You can now create new viruses relatively cheaply using AI.
Don't tell them about that. He's kidding, everyone. He's kidding. It's very hard. It's very hard to make viruses. No one can do it on their own. Don't even try. Anyone. Looking at you. Well, shit. Okay. For whatever psychopath is considering that, can you at least make it quick so it's like, hey, my nose is a little itchy. Is your nose? Can you make it like that? Okay, don't make it like our bones turn to mush over the course of 12 years. That's Look, let's think about this rationally. The asshole who is thinking about doing such a horrible thing is 100% not getting laid. So the way I see it, there's a race right now between him creating the virus that kills everyone and the first readily available, affordable, incredibly realistic sex robots. if those robots come out before the asshole McVirus face kills everyone, he won't do it because he won't be an incel anymore. We need to make this like the Manhattan Project. Put all the greatest minds into making those sex robots. The fate of humanity rests on it. Okay, let's get to the part where big-brained negative Nancy here tells us what we can do about it. What can all of us do about it?
What would you say to the average person? Doesn't work in the industry, somewhat concerned about the future, doesn't know if they're helpless or not. What should they be doing in their own lives?
My feeling is there's not much they can do. This isn't going to be decided by, just as climate change isn't going to be decided by people separating out the plastic bags from the compostables. That's not going to have much effect. It's going to be decided by whether the lobbyists for the big energy companies can be kept under control.
For the love of God, could someone say something positive? Could you tell us about a butterfly you saw today, or that you found a lucky penny on the ground? Shit. I will tell you, he goes on to say we should pressure our governments to focus on AI safety, which I agree with. Unfortunately, the last time the American public successfully pressured our government to do something they didn't already want to do was in 1822, when we got President Monroe to secure an extra spittoon for every city block. We'll always have that. Of course, the U.S. is founded on a bunch of scrappy folks standing up to the king and telling him to go diddle himself with his own scepter. So we do have the power if we want to use it. And at the end of the day, we still have our humanity. Maybe we need an existential threat to unite and create a better world. Crazier things have happened. Moving on, it's time for connecting the dots. New testimony has come forward from Israeli soldiers revealing another piece of what really happened on October 7th, 2023. I'll bring you that shocking video in just a moment, but I want to say I totally wouldn't be harping on the truth behind October 7th if it hadn't led to, what's that word? The one the mainstream media is never allowed to say, or they find themselves in an alligator pit in Bob Iger's dungeon. Genocide. Yes, genocide. As long as we're neck deep in a genocide, I feel like we should probably address the casus belli, which we all know is Latin for Cassius Clay's belly, better known as Muhammad Ali. I don't mean his belly was known as Muhammad Ali. He was known as Muhammad Ali. I have no idea what he called his tum-tum. Do you know, Gary?
No. I wish I did.
Anyway, if you've been following this show since our beginnings way back in 2025, then you know that I've done multiple segments on the truth about October 7th. For example, the fact that the Israeli government knew about the plan for October 7th a year beforehand, which was even reported on in the New York Times, despite them running propaganda cover for Israel's genocide like it's their job. Oh, it's their job. Oh, okay. That actually makes a lot more sense. On top of that, Israel, the most sophisticated surveillance country in the world, watched Hamas prepare for October 7th in broad daylight for weeks, if not months. Hamas posted it on Instagram. This is the worst kept secret since Joe Biden's dementia. No, he often walks backwards, staring into the sun and making walrus noises. That's how the president thinks about world issues. In fact, the so-called spotters who watched the Gaza border have testified that they were alerting their superiors for months that an attack was about to happen and no one did anything, almost as if the government wanted something to happen. On top of that, once Gazans broke out of their cage, why were they in a cage again? Certain factions of the IDF went about killing hundreds of their own people. Hundreds of innocent Israeli citizens were killed by their own military. In fact, the vast majority of the hundreds killed at the Nova Music Festival were killed by IDF helicopters. And that music festival was only moved to that location right by the Gaza border 2 days before the massacre. There's loads more evidence that the Israeli government both knew it was going to happen, let it happen, and then went about killing their own citizens so that they could turn around and say, Hamas killed 1,200 people. But it gets even better, or worse. Yeah, no, nothing gets better. It's just loads of awful. Video has come out of testimony from one of the IDF soldiers who was stationed near the Gaza wall on October 7th. And we here at the giant 400-person Unredacted Tonight team have double-checked that the translation of what he's saying in this testimony is accurate. The Hebrew you'll hear is the original, but the English you'll hear is an AI day laborer we found in a scrap heap and didn't pay a dime. Keep in mind while you listen to this that Hamas's initial attack on October 7th started at 6:30 a.m. So the official story is no one in Israel knew nothing until 6:30 a.m.
For us, October 7th starts before 6:30. I was a soldier in the mortar platoon of Golani Brigade's 13th Battalion. And that night, myself, my sergeant, may he rest in peace, the three of us were pulling an all-nighter. At 5:20 a.m., we're sitting by the radio so as not to wake the other radio operator. And my deputy battalion commander suddenly gets on the radio with a strange message. All stations. I don't know why, I don't know how. No patrol on the fence until 9 a.m.
What time was this?
5:20 in the morning.
They were told not to patrol the border fence between 5:20 and 9 a.m., the exact time Hamas was planning to attack. But in order for those directions to be given, his superiors would have to know Hamas's plan down to the hour, which how could they possibly do that except from Instagram? And B, his superiors would have to want to allow Hamas to attack. But that would be ridiculous. And I'm not going to believe anything like that until I hear the actual order sent out over the radio that morning telling them to stand down until 9 a.m. And no one has that audio.
It's right here.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Let's play that.
All stations are to hold their positions. So in terms of ground forces in Oriv, we don't have anything significant. The brigade issued a directive for our forces, pending a situation assessment until 9 a.m. No vehicle is to approach Burma. I'll say it again, until 9 in the morning, pending the situation assessment, no vehicle is to go down to Burma. We're in rear staging areas, a brigade-level arrangement. I don't know exactly why.
I don't know why, but all units, just don't do your job for the next, 4 or 5 hours, no matter what you hear outside, all right? Do not go out there, because we don't want you getting hurt doing your job, so just stay there. Don't do the thing you do. To sum up, this isn't the first evidence that Israel knew, allowed, fostered, and then exploited October 7th, even going so far as to kill hundreds of their own citizens. It's actually just a small piece of evidence in a giant pile indicating that's exactly what happened. Israel needed their own Pearl Harbor to achieve their expansionist aims. So they made sure it happened. And now they're guilty of the first live stream genocide in history. And about 95% of American media and American political leaders are just as guilty as they are. And here are your headlines from the future. Coming up in September, you'll hear in a new executive order regulating AI, Trump clearly thinks AI is a rapper's name. Doesn't mean the regulations aren't still perfect. And in 3 months, we'll find out DNC thinking of running octopus that makes sports picks for president in 2028. That I would vote for. Coming up in just 4 days, we'll read Pete Hegseth sends U.S. Pacific Fleet to ex-girlfriend's house. What a romantic. And in December, you'll hear whistleblower reveals every single Starlink satellite has truck nuts on it. I'd expect nothing less from them. That's the show. A new one comes out every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. Help us keep Unredacted Tonight going and hang out with amazing people at my locals page. Just go to leecamp.net. It'll take you straight there. Click Become a Subscriber for $6 a month and get both my ebooks for free when you do that. So worth it. Until next time, the revolution will have laughter. Keep fighting.